Good afternoon, ASEAN, and greeting to all. An awesome afternoon, hot sunny day from Bangkok, Thailand. Our distinguished, beautiful plenary speaker from Indonesia, we have Ms. Sim Fahima uh, Dafcha, founder and CEO of Queen Ride Indonesia, and to also have Miss Maria Teresa Magna Gracia from in Philippines, Director, National Planning and Corporate Management Bureau, Department of Information and Communication Technology, and also, from to also welcome plenary speaker from Vietnam, Ms. Thanh Van Dang, CEO and founder, Savicom Software, Vietnam. And of course, from Singapore, we have Ms. Pauline Tan, Board of Advisor for TVS Digital, Technology Advisor for TV Model and Someway Digital. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hong Sin is my name, and I'm one of the founding members of ASEAN CIO Association. I'm responsible for Global Relationship Alliance events activity. So firstly, this is a public live chat. I'd just like to highlight that your name, photos, voice could be captured. So with PDPA, we would like to emphasize that ASEAN CIO Association do not send or sell your contact details to any third party. So when you register as attendee, you have granted us the consent to reach you for any newsletters or email. But should you not wish to receive any, please drop us a note so that we can permanently delete your contact. So secondly, this session allows questions to be posted on group chat on Zoom, or if you like to come online, you can raise your hand to join us. So for those who are listening for the first time, let me just run through on who we are. ASEAN CIO Association. We're a non-profit organization initiated by a group of passionate CIOs started out in Thailand, led by our current president, Kun Chaijalanatipet. I believe he is also on this live chat. We have a clear intention to share experience and support CIOs across ASEAN in various subjects also on as technology evolve. So supporting him, we have a big team of people from ASEAN countries, and we have counselors for youth as well. And all the personnel in ASEAN CIO Association are volunteers. Yet, we have very strong relationship and alliances across the region with Inc. MOU and plans for ASEAN initiative, aligning very closely with ASEAN Digital Master Plan. Our flagship event has been planned in September, originally in July, but due to COVID, we postponed to September in Vietnam, and hopefully we still get to do this physical event of meeting up with everybody, but we are also planning for what if September is not likely to happen. We have already started working on the backup plan. So the main thing for the ASEAN annual forum is that, is to actually cater for regular information exchange, bridging towards digital and information divide. So upcoming event other than the annual forum, there is also a hydroinformatics forum. And truly, I have to say, thanks to COVID-19, we really got out of our comfort zone to do things that are not the norm. But it is now become the next new norm, all right? And we have been running this live chat for the last 10 weeks, and it has become our weekly affair of reaching out, listening to CIOs or listening to the various sectors to see how we can actually pair up with this whole challengers in across ASEAN to explore digital development and transformation. Live chat digital channel, there are 9 different channels that we've been working on. We have business channels, business consulting channels, We have coaching channels, cybersecurity, city and urbanization, digital transformation, digital water, digital fund, which will be happening next week. If you are interested to hear us out on digital fund, join us for next week. Green and Sustainability Women and Youth channel. That is actually today's channel about women in digital. So ASEAN CIO Association, Digital Women is an initiative aimed at empowering women, helping them access to tools, education, resources, and develop a sharing community where women are able to learn to boost their digital skills and be inspired by inspirational women in the digital business that we have today on plenary. So, ASEAN CIO Association, the Digital Women works on gathering all people, network, and organization as not to reinvent, but respecting the work well done by all the different organization, association, or formation for women. There will be a chapter set up for women as well as we are identifying ASEAN women to run as our counselor for the North and South Zone to bridge the gender gap in technology sector by helping women to embrace technology. So 2020, ASEAN CIO added this whole new mission to empower and skill women in digital literacy towards digital prosperity. And the whole conversation will basically focuses on empowerment to develop champions for change in technology sector and beyond. And the whole conversation, the digitalization, transformation with advancement of technology has presented us a lot of opportunities for women in economy to prosper and also to in whether it is on the emerging or developing countries. Okay, moving forward with the vision of the gender balance in ASEAN for all industry and sectors, access to digital tools and technology will provide support to as a new means. In fact, when we talk about inclusiveness to women. So ASEAN CIO believes that the inclusion demands openness, mindset shift, and essential component for transformation, as well as to address the social economic development with long-term economic prosperity. And women can never be ignored. All right. So now allow me to bring on the conversation of introducing my plenary speaker who is with me today. And may I call upon Tess from Philippines to give us an introduction and how is her involvement in the digital world. Tess, screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay. Let me check. No, I'm having a problem. Sorry. Where is the slide? There you go. Can you see it on the screen?
Let's go ahead and you can put up to screen sharing.
Cool. Okay.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good afternoon. Yes, okay. Loud and clear. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to share to you my ICT and gender and development journey. Now, I've worked in government, I think, for the past 25 years. I think for more than 25 years. And I've also worked in a development organization for at least I think about seven years. Now I studied public management in Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy in the National University of Singapore, and I currently work as a director under the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Okay, now my ICT journey is actually started in 2000, in the year of 2000. Now, looking back on what I have done since then, I would say all my efforts towards the ICT is towards building government institutions and developing ICT, the needed ICT ecosystem. Now, my journey, on the other hand, on gender and development started only in 2018 because I was assigned as the chair of the technical working group on gender and development in the Department of ICT. Now, given my educational background and work experience, my career path has been with mostly with policy development, national planning, program development, and management, and in that of organizational development. Okay. I have worked for the creation and establishment of various government agencies that are mandated to lead and steer the development of ICT in the country. Now, as you can see on the screen, there are four government organizations in which I have helped establish and over the past one day, more than a decade already. Now, in 2000, the president of the Philippines created what we call the Information Technology E-commerce Council, and the president at that time was the chair of the council. Now, in 2004, what she did, the president at that time created the commission on ICT, because at the time we were thinking of creating a department, but it took a while because it would take a legislation to do it. Thus, the commission on ICT was created as a precursor of a department of ICT. But prior to the creation of the department of ICT, the commission on ICT was transformed in what we call the ICT office in 2011, and it was put under the Department of Science and Technology. Now, in 2006, a legislation was passed creating the Department of ICT. Now, on the screen, these are the different national plans and sectoral plans that have been developed, in which I either took the lead or participated in the formulation and implementation. Now, in 2011 to 2016, we have what we call the Philippine Digital Strategy. Now, the current one that we have, which is still existing, is the National Ecosystem Framework, the National Broadband Plan, and the e-government master plan. Now, the National Broadband Plan provides a policy directions or the blueprint in which we are hoping we can improve the internet speed of the country. Now, the e-government master plan is specific to the government coming up with a harmonized approach to government information systems. Now, the middle one is the National ICT Household Survey. Now, we did this so that we are able to come up with reliable or even accurate data in terms of for the planning and for policy decision making of the country for the country. Now, in terms of gender and development, what I have been doing since 2 years ago, sorry, 2 years ago, I have pursued several initiatives, and most of which are institutional and staff capacity building, ensuring that the gender is mainstream across the department's planning, budgeting, and monitoring and evaluation. We are continuously conducting training to build the capacity of the staff, ensure that the ICT is institutionally God capable. Because being a technical department, the percentage of women in the department is lower. We I think about 40% of the total 1,000 plus staff in the department are women, and most are men. Now, we are also conducting this year what we call the Women in ICT Development Index. Now, we are hoping that this year we're able to conduct the survey so that we are able to see what is the status of women on how they use ICT in their day-to-day lives. Now, as a public management person, I think my journey will continue to help building the capacities of government institutions in steering the country towards digitalization, especially now that we are in the new normal. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tess. I'm very encouraged by what you have mentioned about running a survey with the interest of getting to know how the country are really utilizing digital to empower themselves and to move forward to help the country to be better in terms of economy. And also very interesting conversation about your years of experience in policy development, implementing it is really interesting to know. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Yin from Indonesia to introduce yourself and also share with us in terms of your involvement in the digital world. Yin?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Fahima from Indonesia. Can you hear my voice clearly? Yes. All right. All right. My experience in ICT in Indonesia. I've been working. I was one of the person who brought the trend of digital industry, advertising industry in Indonesia around 17 years back then. And my background is an entrepreneur. I have several startups that some of them already exit. Let me share you my slide. So yeah, I currently before Queen Rights. Now I'm a CEO of a online and offline woman empowerment platform, Queen Rights. But before that, I run several companies. One is a consulting business company, digital consulting companies, and then another is digital music company with 20 million recurring members, and also media company. But now I'm focusing as a socialpreneur with my new platform, Queen Rights. This is what I'd like to share to you. Wait a minute. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes. Can you do the screen share?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm doing the screen share.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share to you my current platform, my current digital platform. It's Queen Rights. Queen Rights is an online and offline woman empowerment platform in Indonesia, probably the first in the world who focusing on 4 pillars. One is the woman road safety. Second is the woman economic empowerment. Third is woman leadership, and then the family. And currently we have we are entering the 5th years right now, and we have about 400,000 women joining the platform from all over Indonesia and several countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and also Australia. We have our online and offline channels. And the first time my background is advertising. So the way how we influence people first is through campaign. The first time we launched our campaign, we use all the digital campaign. So we creating a high fashion approach to create word of mouth on social media to disrupt the regular safety riding campaign, because our first pillar it was road safety. And we create a lot of engagement with government and also private sectors. We also do all the campaign through online and offline. We do the photo exhibition, giant screen in the malls. Also at the same time creating buzz on social media. which the whole conversation was creating a lot of publicities and also trending topic, local and global. And what's the impact of our digital campaign at that time? In 4 years, right until today, we have more than 400,000 community members in Indonesia and several countries. And our movement getting acknowledged by private sectors, NGOs, and also government. We get a lot of support from many ministry, even ministers came to our event and started to support our women movement. Even President Jokowi also attend our movement and open several of our events. The social media campaign and the online and all those online and offline movement also get local and global acknowledgement. Queen Rights was listed as one of the most creative startup by World Economic Forum. And I also appointed as young global leader of World Economic Forum for creating impact locally and globally. And also mentioned as young world changers by World Economic Forum, together with another 10 young leaders who invited to Davos. And locally, Queen Rights also awarded by President Jokowi. And I, as a founder, also appointed as 10 young Indonesia young leaders at that moment. And what we do during this pandemic, this pandemic is tough for everyone, but there is no way that we have to be able to continue creating impact with whatever asset that we have. Since we are no longer able to do offline movement, so we are focusing only on the online, which we found out it is much more effective and creating much more bigger impact compared to what we did before in the past 3 years. During this pandemic, only in like 3 months, using WhatsApp, we empower almost 5,000 women all over Indonesia and several countries to continuously learning several topics like building business from home, because everyone right now have to work from home. And during this crisis, woman is the most impacted. So we educate women how to build business from home, how to use social media for business, how to understand the legal agreement. All of those they learn from the experts. So we have lists of legal advisors, psychologists. We also have like a business coach, entrepreneurs who all together working hand in hand to empower women all over Indonesia. So beside legal agreement, so we also have education about how to have a growth mindset for the business, because this pandemic in a way push everyone to be able to have entrepreneurship. So we decided to have one of our subject was to discuss about growth mindset for business, also about self-love, homeschooling, because in Indonesia, at least until December this year, all the students have to study from home. Also, we discuss about parenting, digital parenting, and many more. So basically, during this pandemic, when many social business probably like slowing down their movement, on the opposite, we even giving more influence and creating a more impact using technology which accessible to almost every woman in Indonesia, which is WhatsApp. So by end of this year, we plan to be able to empower around 10,000 women all over Indonesia using WhatsApp and Zoom. So that's about me.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yim. Like I said to you, I am very impressed by the work that you do to be able to rally and serve so many women across Indonesia and creating a different perspective for them to get involved onto the platform. I salute to you and I bow to the work that you have done.
Thank
And
you.
I hope to see that, Queen Rai could also be possibly a platform that we can also learn from the rest of ASEAN countries, from Queen Rai, and see how we can actually possibly manifest this to the rest of the region. So I would be having another conversation with you later. All right. So
Definitely would love to make it happen.
yes, so allow me to invite Pauline on the call. Pauline, you can do an introduction about yourself and also your involvement in the digital world. Pauline, screen
Yep,
is yours.
yep. Thank you, Hong Sin. Hi, I'm Pauline from Singapore. Okay, I will share what I have been doing for the last 30 over years of my life. So, tech, in short, I have always been a technology person in IT since high school. And from my first job until today, it has been technology and IT. Let me get my slides. Okay, I'll go through very quickly what I'm doing today and how I'm involved in technology. Then I'll run through very quickly what I did for the last 3 decades of more of my life. And I'll quickly share one of the projects that I think is interesting in the digital technology space in one of the companies I did, which I think hopefully will allow you to see opportunities and what technology can bring to a company and to us and how ladies can participate. So in short, I am currently on the TVS advisory board. So technically what it does is it is one of India's largest conglomerate. So we want to bring in digital transformation to TVS as a company. So the digital arm was set up with the intent to see how we can harness different technology, how can we introduce technology to a company that's been around for 120 years old, 120 years. So we went around looking for possibilities, and the approach we took was really to invest in startups. So which are the startups that are relevant? How do we assess? So that's the role of the advisory board. So for the last 18 months, we have invested in startups, of which some of them I'm the board member. But where we are right now, after all the investment and all the various introduction of new technology to TVS, we have now come to a point where we think we are in the position to even now introduce new solutions and new products into the market. So that's the new technology space I'm in. And then I'm also a technology advisor and consultant to the TVS Motor Credit and Sundram Credit, which are the different companies under the TVS umbrella, and also to Sunway Digital, which is a Malaysia conglomerate. At the same time, I also do adjunct lecturing for the E-Government Leadership Institute with the National University of Singapore, and primarily I lecture in the ASEAN countries on e-government leadership and things like that. About a year ago, I started my own company that deals with nanotechnology, and we actually invent our own products. So that's very shortly, very briefly what I'm doing today. Now, a bit of what I did over the last 3 decades. So basically, if you look at where the world is today, digitalization is something that is here. We don't really have a choice. So the question is, so what did I do and how did I move into the digital space, and what are key takeaways that perhaps that are important to me that I'd like to share with you, and why it is important when you actually want to embark on the digital journey. So what did I do? So my last role was really with the National University of Singapore, where I was the chief of artificial intelligence practice. So this is actually one of the roles that I find quite very, very fulfilling, because what we did was we put together a program, a Master of Technology degree, to bring robotics, to bring artificial intelligence as a course of a master program and get people to move into the new world. So if you look at IT, you look at all the various things that we learn, you find that AI, you find that artificial intelligence, robotics, and the like is what the future holds. So it is very exciting to actually work with very young people to put together a program, and then we launched it last July. Then before that, I was with STATS, and I was the chief technology officer there. So what is STATS? I think many of you, if you have not heard of STATS, you have definitely experienced us if you have taken a plane from Singapore Changi Airport. In fact, we are also present in 52 other cities and most of the ASEAN countries we are there. So when you get onto the plane, the food you eat, let's say on Singapore Airlines, that's cooked by STATS Kitchen. So there's a whole food technology there, there's a whole logistics there. When you get to Changi Airport, I think many of you are happy that your bags are on the belt before you even arrive at the belt. That is again the works of STATS. And so there's again, a lot of technology, etc. So later I'll show you a video of some of the technology that's introduced there, and how we can each all play a role and make our lives better. Before that, I was with Neptune Orient Lines, that's shipping and ground logistics, where I was the group CIO. So my role there, I mean, at that time, that was like maybe 8 years ago. So it is, the digitalization didn't really catch on that big at the time. So it was a lot more IT. But you find that at that point in time, most of my challenge already was how to really modernize the IT environment in the organization. The world is already moving from server to blade to cloud. So you find that at that point in time, a lot of things were already changing. You didn't really see the digital as it is today, but it was clearly there were very clearly indicators, and we have to ride on the wave even from there. And before that, for the more than 2 decades, I was with the Singapore government, where I actually oversee the Government Chief Information Office. And that's where we introduce a lot of national level programs for the whole of Singapore, as well as the Singapore government. For example, I think many of you would have experienced the electronic road pricing system in Singapore. So how do we design that? You would have seen how Singapore government has built a very robust network across the whole nation, even across the whole government. So a lot of these national programs were under the charge of the Government Chief Information Office. And while I was in government, I also served as the national rep for ICA, which is actually a Commonwealth Council for IT CIOs. And I was also with the United Nations Development Program for e-government. So we actually go and share, and particularly in the Middle East and the ASEAN region. So that's the last 30 years of my life. Okay, I said I will share about a particular digital transformation project. So if you look at digital innovation or digital transformation, many people will think that, hey, what is it? So my take and what I see as digital innovation or digital transformation actually involves multiple aspects of what we do and what you see. One is operations technology. So if you look at all our businesses, there will always be equipment. So like say food technology, there's ovens, there is a boiler, there is a big refrigerator. If you go into a factory, there may be washing machine. So there are different machines. All these machines today are technology enabled, the IT enabled. So there's a lot of data, there's server, there's CPU in there. Now how do we harness that, and how do we bring value from all this operations technology in our digital transformation? How do we then integrate that with the computer systems, the technology, the communication systems that we have today? I mean, you look at Wi-Fi, you look at 5G, you look at 4G. How does OT, your computer systems, telecommunication come together? And then if you look at all of us at home, we have all kinds of consumer electronics, whether it's your watch, whether it is your your handphone, whether it is your home computer. So all this again, if we integrate together, you get again a different innovation. And last but not least, in all things we do, what is most important is the business process. How does the business process bring value to the business, bring value to the customer, bring value to you and I? So one example that I'm going to share, which will be a short video, is when we set up the SETS Innovation Center. When we brought digital innovation in SETS, you find that you'll see that it is not just about setting up a computer system, it's not about putting in a website, but you see a lot of things like robotics, even things like augmented reality. How do you bring that into operations? Your smartwatch, your watch that has a SIM card inside, your bone conduction headset. How can we even introduce wheelchairs for customer well-being? And how do we even have better food technology so that your food can be more fresh, can maintain its quality, and yet I can keep it on my shelf without refrigeration for 6 months, 1 year. So maybe I'll just play the video and hopefully it will make it more interesting. Is the video okay?
Is there supposed to be sound?
Yes. There's no sound?
Yeah.
Okay, try again. There's still sound? There's still no
But
sound.
maybe later on we can, you can send us the link,
Okay,
and then we
Efficiency and productivity at Changi Airport. These innovations come under a new virtual center called Technique at SETS, launched by Education Minister for Schools and Second Minister for Transport, Ng Chee Meng, on Wednesday. The next time you're at the airport, you may get to enjoy your hot bowl of laksa prepared by Roboto, the robotic chef. Right now, this is only a prototype and it will be undergoing a trial. But if successful, it will be implemented at the SETS Premier Lounge. This is Dolly, an automated guided vehicle used for food delivery at the airport. It uses Follow Me technology, where sensors can detect the person in front and the trolleys will follow. Instead of pushing individual trolleys, staff can now transport multiple trolleys at one go. This same technology is also used for wheelchairs, where single staff can attend to multiple wheelchair-bound passengers at a time. These solutions are the brainchild of SETS employees who face similar challenges every day.
We need the innovation to come from the expertise of the different parts of the organization, so the people that are doing those jobs day in, day out. And we encourage the innovation. Across SATS, we've got hundreds of projects, probably at this point 200 projects. And overall, the amount of money we're spending over the years has increased, and now we're at about $100 million of investing in technology for these new innovation projects.
Several projects, such as the smartwatch and bone conduction headset for technical RAM staff and food delivery vehicles, are currently being used at the airport. Others, like the robotic chef and smart wheelchair system, are still in the trial stages and may be implemented in the future.
Yep. Back to you, Hong Xin. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. Kudos, as usual. You have always been the pioneer in a lot of technology, and today, but just a short few minutes, I've just attended a OT ICT class from you. So I like to say that, there is a lot that that probably could also have benefited or could have also opens up opportunities for the ladies on the plenary and also the men who are also joining the session. So you know where you can hunt out Pauline Tan if you are looking for such kind of expertise. So moving on, I'd like to invite Ben from Vietnam. Yesterday we had a rehearsal actually, but she couldn't make it. And how her staff, Lily, described Miss Van is, I captured this so clearly that she described Miss Van as a sister, a mentor, a supporter to her well-being and growth in the digital world. So I'd like to call upon Miss Van to introduce herself and also her involvement in the digital world. Miss Van, screen over to you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me well?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to be here today to meet with wonderful women, and especially all of you today who spend your precious time to join our session. So it's very inspiring to hear the story of each of you. And yeah, so I would like to introduce a little bit about myself so we can more understand about each other, and we can find a way to cooperate to help each other. And I hope that we can be a part of the community to build our society's more prosperity. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I was born in a mountainous areas in Vietnam 40 years ago, and about 40 or 30 years ago when I was growing up, I didn't see motorbike or car in Vietnam at the moment, and it's a big change until now. And even for the computer, I was even not know until I was in grade 7, and that was I was at 14 years old, and I was lucky to get into the first computer, and I can see the big thing that the computer can bring, like I can do the coding to make a clock run, and it was very inspiring for a little girl that can imagine that a world can build something with a computer. It's why I chose computer science as my major when I came to the university. And yeah, I was lucky to study in the University of Sydney. And after 4 years study over there, I believe that I have learned a lot. I believe that the way that I chose for my career path, like computer science, is just for me. And I learned how the world is changing by the technology. I learned that everybody, no matter they are women or men, can reward to have what they are passionate on, or what they love to do. So after I graduate, I work for a research institute as a researcher. So I still doing a lot on coding and programming, and then I work for many different positions like project managers, business analysts, tester, or sales in a software companies. And at that time, I understand more about how the IT can bring value to life. And I can see very clearly that people from different countries with different education have different perceptions. And we have a big dream to how to help people in Vietnam to have better job opportunity. Is why I opened Savicom in 2009. So we have a mission to leveraging IT business in Vietnam. To leverage engineering resource in Vietnam by providing a global software solution to the world. And currently, our Savicom focusing on bringing digital transformation solution to the customer in areas of finance, automotive, education, and healthcare. And currently, we are very happy that we have a team of more than 100 people at Savicom, and in Vietnam, and also in Australia and US. to bring mobility solution to the customers. And so my my present is about Savicom. I can dream about Savicom and talk about Savicom all the time. I guess that maybe other CEO or founder can have the same like me. And not only Savicom, I also involved in other activities, like being a mentor of Sherry Play Mentoring Foundation for Women. So that is where I can see that there's a big difference between men and women in the society in terms of job opportunity, or the willingness to do the thing that the thing or the path that not many people chose. And I joined that so I can have opportunity to understand and to meet, to talk with other women that they would like to involve more in the business and technology areas. I also joined as the Vice President of VNITO, that is Vietnam Digital Technology Alliance in Vietnam. We all have a vision together how to bring Vietnam technology into the world. And currently we have more than 200 software engineer software companies in Vietnam that involve in quarterly and monthly or yearly event that we can do many things that we believe that is right for our countries. And and as the Australian alumni, I also joined as a board member of the Australian for Innovation program. We work with the Australian government and the company in Australia to bring innovation solution apply into Vietnam. Yes, that's a little bit about me. And maybe I would like to just share more a bit about Savicom. So we just passed 10 years birthday last year, and we also set our goals and objectives for the next 10 years. And maybe if many people, when we first opened our company, we might not think about many things that further. So in the last 10 years, I just want to leverage IT resource in Vietnam, and I just have smaller dream. But I believe that after about 3 years, I believe that being an entrepreneur is not my job, but my career, that I believe that that's the right ways for me. But still in the technology industry, that many people told me that about 30 years old, 20 years, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, or 10, or even now, I still talk about technology. That's our passion, and I believe that we can bring technology into life. We can bring many beautiful values. So before, we might think that technology is just something like flower to make our life better. But thanks to the COVID-19, many of us here in Vietnam, and I also believe that in any other regions in the world, that we can see technology is the must. With technology, we can keep it together. We can keep it close, much close, and we can make our life much easier. So our mission for Savicom is to bring innovation technology into life by leveraging engineering resources in Vietnam and the regions. And we are very proud and lucky that we have received some award for Savicom, like we have been ranked as top 30 and top 50 IT companies in Vietnam for a few years. And we also we so love that we can bring more in the next 10 years. And come back to the conversation that we have talked about, the equity and the men, the equity between women and men in the digital technology era. I believe that we will have a lot of things to talk later. And I would like to give back to yeah, to the host, so we can discuss later. And thank you very much for your listening.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ben. You can call me Hong Sin. So what I have been hearing and experiencing are ladies of passion, women who take the extra step to make every effort worth their time to support another women and also their society and the community. And I salute you for putting in all their great effort. And right now, I think getting into the key plenary exchange and conversation, one of the hot questions that is burning in me are that I like to ask all the ladies, or even the ladies that's not on the plenary, if you want to talk about it, you're very welcome to jump in. All right, is that why women in digital matters in ASEAN? So, Ms. Ben, since you're the last person that spoke, maybe we just have you to share, and since you also touched on the conversation on the gender equality, would you like to share some opinion about why women in digital matters in ASEAN?
Okay. Yeah, so I think maybe the question is why not? We are half of the world, and I believe that each person we have was born with a potential, with a passion, dedication. So I don't see the difference between men and women here. Maybe because I was with in the class with most of the men. I was also in the session or in the career that I can see most of the men here. So I'm not so not familiar with, but I believe that everyone can have right to dream, to do whatever we believe that we have a passion and we have love in. And that's the first one. And also for the second one, I strongly believe that women have something better than men in terms of the spreading. So the men can concentrate on one thing, but women can think more about the society. Women can do many things around. And we all can see here that women raise a kid, care about family, care about society. So if women can be success in this area, so I believe that many other people in the industry can be inspired and can have benefit of it.
Nice.
So yeah, we are half of the world. So we not only have the rights, but we have the responsibility to make the world better.
It's very encouraging to hear this, and nonetheless, this session will be replayed and be shared again with many of the other rest of the women who are working busy and unable to join this session, but they will get to listen to what you have said. And Yim, what about you?
Hi. Yeah. If we look at the UN Women data, the 90% job in the future will require three things: digital technology, information, and also communication. So digital technology isn't just about technology and coding, but it's including those three aspects I mentioned previously. So, and digital technology is not about male instinct, it's about people engines. Maybe we can look at some big companies in the world that they have a good proportion between male and female. For example, Alibaba. Alibaba, they have around 40% female executive on the board. And Jack Ma once also mentioned that in this world, if you want to win the 21st century, you have to make sure that you are empowering people who are better than you. And I find women think about others more than they think about themselves. So the similar principle to have women on board, women on the team, like almost 50-50 position, applied to another companies like IBM, Accenture, Salesforce, and many more. And what I see, the way they do the changes, the change in the companies, is they apply the principle that the companies will succeed are the one who have a diverse team of genders, colors, and skill. And in the world that so badly needs strong professional, placing every single talented woman in digital job is not anymore a matter of preference, but rather it's about survival. And if we look at the ASEAN economy, women of ASEAN already contribute significantly to the ASEAN economies. Economic growth across the 10 member states have averaged before pandemic. The average is around 5% a year, and the job market for the population of 622 million is estimated to be worth around $2.6 trillion annually. But women lack of equal opportunities costs us a lot. Approximately every year, we diluted the GDP is around 18%. So it's almost $500 million. So why women in digital matters in ASEAN? Because it's not an optional. Having women is not an optional in digital industry. It's about survival. And for me, having experience in managing several companies, it's a fundamental strategy for economic success. So why not?
I really become more fire up, I hope more women is listening to this session because, you hit right on the spot about this whole gender equality where companies who embraces the women and empower the women are making a significant difference. And, here the question is no longer about why not. It's about why, and to include women to prosperity. Wow, it's really getting exciting. And on the subject where you mentioned about lacking of opportunities, I mean, women lacking of opportunities, or they see the opportunities, but they were not confident enough to go forward. I always have this debate about, was it the opportunity, or was it that we women actually did not acknowledge ourselves and just not taking the role? So you see, I get so excited, right? So I think this part of the question, where I really like to hear Tess and Pauline's opinion on this whole conversation on why, this whole context of why. Pauline, may I have you to share your view?
Hi. Yeah. So the question, let me just get the question. Why are women not coming forth in the digital world? Is that the question, right?
No. Why women in digital matters?
Oh, okay.
Why do they matter in the digital world?
Okay. I think I totally agree with the two ladies, because maybe let me take a different perspective. I think as women, as lady, we have to recognize that the world is changing and digital is the future. So if you look at what happened with COVID over the last few months, do you really have a choice? Look at what we're doing now. We're doing even all our forum, etc., online. You're buying all your grocery online. Everything, you go and see your doctor online. So it is not as if you don't really have a choice. So digital is the way to go. So as the women in which is like half the world, or and contributing to GDP, we really have to take up the challenge and embrace and move forward bravely into the digital world. I don't think it is a case of, oh, you're not welcome. If you're not welcome, then we have to make ourselves welcome. We just have to take the bold step, move forward, embrace it, and make a difference. And I'm very sure the women folk can do it if we want, because education today we are all educated in some form or another. I don't think it is a lack of talent. Sometimes it may be, as what Hong Jin said, it's a stereotype in our own brain that, hey, maybe I can't do it. But you don't try, you don't know. If you don't step into the water, you'll never learn how to swim. So I think it definitely matters because we are half the world population. We have to move everybody into the future, so we play our part, and everybody can contribute. And like I said earlier, it is not just about technical things. If you don't like technical things, not that women are no good, sometimes we don't like, you can contribute in the process, you can contribute in change management, you can contribute in creative design. These are all needed in the digital world. Yep. So challenge ourselves. Yep.
Yeah, sure. Tess, since you're in this whole government role, that you are setting policies, that you're driving change in Philippines, why? Why do, this whole conversation of why women in digital matters in ASEAN? Probably, I still like to hear your opinion and your perspective.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
It,
yes.
yes, it's raining hard here. That's the reason why it's a little bit okay. Why women in ASEAN? Why women in digital matters in ASEAN? Can I use the Philippines as an example rather than a regional perspective? Yesterday I mentioned to you um, about we have this national ICT household survey, and based on the national ICT survey that we did, it's most the percentage of those who are using the internet is higher in female rather than in the male. It's the women that uses the internet rather than the male. It's the women that is taking the digital world rather than the male. They are the one that is accessing government website. They are the one that is doing social activities via the internet. They are accessing information through the internet. Even selling, based on the study or based on the survey that we did, even selling goods and services online is the female that is doing it, and even purchasing goods and services online, it's also the female that is doing it. So that I think that's the answer to your question. Even if it's in a Philippine context, but taken into regional perspective, women would have to take the lead in the digital world. And the reason why also women, because women have the competencies, not only technological competencies, but I think they have the emotional capacity, even the intuition, even the analytical power, even the confidence to be in a digital world. Aside from on a personal note, women like us can do multitasking. We can do several work at the same time. I'm not just sure with the male, but based on personal experience and based on what I'm hearing from friends, women friends, it's because we are taking the lead in the digital world. It's because we can do multitasks. I think that's the one that I wanted to share in terms of why women in digital matters.
When I was running my cybersecurity company, my engineers always tells me that, boss, men single thread, women multitask. So when you bring up the conversation of, multitask, I started to smile and remember all my young engineers, because especially when I give them multitask, right? So bringing forth the conversation is this whole interesting topic that I would like to continue, where I talk about what can men do in the women's opinion. All right, what do you think? What can men do to make the tech world a better place for women? Because earlier Yim talked about women lack the opportunity. So this part, I'd like to start with Yim first. Yim?
Uh, what
What
can men do?
Yes, to make the tech world a better place for women.
Many.
Name it.
Men who working in technology and innovation have a duty to listen, engage, and encourage women in their sectors. And who are on the top position leaders, there are many organizational arrangements that can be put in place around issues such as maternity leave, flexible working hours, mentoring, and many other things to encourage women to work in tech careers. But what we need is much broader cultural change. Cultural change. So uh, women contribution need to be respected. Their voice have to be heard, and companies will be better placed to work and more innovative and productive as a result. And what I see in today's generation, so we need to be able to hello.
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we need to be able to engage men to participate a lot in on this issue. We cannot solve this issue all alone. So we need to inspire men to tell them what to do. Which, as if I put in three words, is they have a duty to listen, engage, and encourage.
Interesting. Pauline, since you deal with all the men, and many men, and what do you think they could do to, support the women?
I've known Hong Sin for a few decades, and she knows I work with a lot of men in the office. Because I actually, maybe just some background. I used to work in the infrastructure and operations side of technology. So my whole team are 90 over percent all men. Um, Actually, if you ask me, that there are different roles that men can play. One is when you're in the office, uh, the engagement is one, but I think it is the basic thing is to be inclusive. Yeah. So when you see, like what Hong Sin said, men takes a straight line. Ladies tend to meander around, but then because we meander around, we see different perspectives of things. So but then because the way we operate and we think are different, a bit of inclusion, a bit of patience will also allow them to see that, hey, there are different ways of doing things. And for the ladies, I suppose it cuts both ways. We also have to not take too much meandering, because the patience there is not very high either. So how to allow that cohesion, that inclusiveness, so that we are all comfortable in getting our objective done and meeting the final outcome. So it is a world where we have to respect each other, we have to include each other, and see how to work together. I think that will make the women folk a lot more comfortable in the technology world, which many view as very technical, but like I said, it is not necessarily technical. Um, I personally, I really didn't have too much issue working with the men, because I think one, for a start, I suppose some of the men listening might be people I've worked with before, so they can comment if they want. Um, I think there are times when, if we don't really understand, let's say when I was doing network, if I really don't understand the network architecture, so at that time I actually say, hey, can somebody help me to explain this? I don't understand. And interestingly, when I ask, they actually explain. But then if I don't ask, I don't think anybody will actually explain, because they assume I know, because they sometimes you also have to view it from the other perspective, that they also don't want to come across very condescending and insult us. So we also have to learn to take a step and ask. And if they bully, if there is some bullying, then we also have to learn to step out and say, hey, hello, I don't agree with this. So it is um a, a situation where it takes both to click, but men, I think it is important that respect has to be there. But then looking at the men in the other aspect, the tech world tends to have odd hours. Yeah, when you have major launches, when you are at the final stage of development, the hours are a bit strange. So then the men in the home have also to allow and understand the woman to be able to really contribute and do our work. And so the home environment, the man also has a role to play, not just in the office. Yeah. So yep.
All right. So Pauline touched on not just at work, but also back at home, where women today are working in a digital world where they have deadlines to meet, and the men at home just have to be supportive. Okay, so and to the conversation to Ben, where I'd like to hear from you who is an entrepreneur in Savicom, a technology company. How do you see this coming for you?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting question to discuss. So at Savicom, we have about more than 60%, more than 65% are men, and about 35% are women. And for the 10 years of development, we always try to find as more female as possible to find more balance. Because we all believe that a balanced working environment will be better for all of us. And I'm very lucky that I agree with Pauline and Im that respect is very important. That the men can respect the women. Men then can trust that women can do the work. So we try to give women an opportunity to try themselves and to prove themselves that they can do it. So respect, yes, is the one that we really want the men to understand and share the mission. And also, once the men can understand and respect it, they also can help us sharing the housework. So sometimes people at Savicom, they have to go home early to feed the kid or to do the housework. I think if we can have more support from the husband, they can do the work much better. And when we have a few men or more men understand the situation or respect the women, and we have we can inspire other people, and we have all society that support it. And again, I really want to emphasize here that women play very important roles in the family and the society. So they will affect on the way that they teach the kids and teach our younger generation. And I believe that if the men can respect the women, can share the work, can include the women in the work that we are doing now, we can build much better world. And the women can share the role that the men had to take now.
Okay, 3 key takeaway: respect, share, support. Men, are you listening? Okay. Tess, I would like to ask you this question, because for you in Philippines, you only have the women actually dominating the internet. They are the one that is actually very on the game of getting digital. So this question will be very much on, why it is vital for us to actually close the digital gender gap. I will come back to some of the other plenary speakers, but I'd like to hear from Tess, because you are in this whole policy government space. You have the men and the women. You're setting new policies every now and then, and why it is vital for us to close this digital gender gap.
I think it was mentioned a while ago by I cannot remember which one, but the women, in terms of the gross domestic product of each of the country in ASEAN, they've been able to provide 50 or 60% percentage or half of the gross domestic product of a country. So stunting the growth of women, it's like you're saying that you're stunting the growth of the society as well. So there's really a need to bridge the digital gender gap, so that at the end of the day, the gross domestic product or even the gross national product of the country would even be higher than what it is right now. Like for example, in the new normal right now, the women will be the most affected, because the female workforce is mostly are in the service oriented jobs, and that would entail, when you say in service oriented jobs, that would mean you are front facing services, you are into personal contact with the customers, so they are in danger of going against the new norm of social distancing. So they will always be at a disadvantage, because women are more into the service oriented work. Now I think, um, r- more so now with the new normal that we are all working from home, and our kids are doing school based, home based schooling arrangement. So again, the women would be more at a disadvantage. So how are you going to do your work at home, at the same time you're teaching your kid the assignments and helping him or her listen to the teacher online? So the hours that women will spend on household responsibilities and that of childcare, and then at the same time doing her work at home, will definitely increase, and this will affect the productivity of women. So there has to be that interventions. I mean, there has to be policy interventions that the government would have to issue, so that you help the women, at the same time do their work at home, but at the same time also perform their function, or responsibility as a mother as a mother at home. There has to be those interventions that will equip women, especially right now in the current new normal conditions.
Mm, okay. I think that is something that probably, that many countries probably have never, I mean, many countries leader or even sometimes company leaders could have oversight on this area where when they are all working from home, the women actually have the extra chore. And typically, if the man is also working at home, they probably will be looking at each other and say, is it your turn or my turn? So I think they gotta have some kind of a or an internal or home rules or guidelines because both men and women are now working from home. So I totally hear you, Tess. This is interesting. And coming up, the very important question is also that what could women in ICT sector do to uplift digital prosperity in ASEAN? And with what Yim, Ben, and even Pauline, who is now entering into this whole entrepreneurship businesswoman world, maybe soon Tess may join us next year. I don't know. Okay, because we're all women entrepreneurs. Okay, because for me, I run a crowdfunding platform, I run a technology company. So other than volunteering in ASEAN CIO Association, I mean, I'm totally looking into all the different aspects. All right, as in this case, like what could women in ICT sector do to uplift digital prosperity in ASEAN? I would like to call upon my dearest Yim because she is a powerhouse. You know, as Indonesia has such a huge population and she has such a big community, and I believe she's gonna manifest even more after this session. Maybe Philippines will be knocking on your door. Pauline will be calling upon you. Ben will be saying, "Let's work together." And ASEAN CIO gonna say, Yim, we need you to get involved here and there. So Yim, the screen is yours because this is so important, uplifting digital prosperity in ASEAN for women. Yim?
Yes, thank you. So what can we do to uplift the digital prosperity in ASEAN? I think I made the two parts. One is that individual NGOs and private sectors can do, and another one is the government, what government can do. At the individual NGOs or private sectors can do. One is to create awareness. We need to create campaign to encourage and increase awareness of education opportunities in digital and STEM sector for women and girls. And that campaign can be complemented by incentive for female students in those sectors. That's one thing. Number two, we individual NGOs and private sectors also can develop an ad hoc regional programs to support women entrepreneurship in technology, including venture capital to be made available for women to create innovation startups, which right now probably around 90% of these startups owned by men. Number three, the private sector should offer apprenticeship and vocational skills training to nurture the talent of young women, including those who might not have access to more traditional educational background. This will allow girls and young women to have greater exposure to the opportunities available in digital and STEM industries, and also facilitate their transition into work. That three, I think we can do from the private sectors, NGOs, or even individual. And all those private sectors, NGOs, individuals cannot work alone. Definitely, government have to lead the move. What the government should do, what government must do to excel the situation. First, government have to make sure access to digital infrastructure and connectivity for women in less developed and rural areas of the region as a priority. Second, they also must invest more in ensuring that digital skill as well as information and communication technology courses are integrated throughout all stages of education and are equally accessible to both girls and boys. Educational resources should focus on e-learning so that young people actively use technology as the key skill across the board. All education and training resources should be gender sensitive to ensure they don't discriminate women, for example, like using all male examples. And government also need to have more female teachers to be trained and employed in digital learning centers to create a more equitable and safe learning environment for girls. And the final thing, I think, the final thing that we need to do is ensure women and girls have the right role models and mentors so they can really be the one leading the way.
Thank you, Yim. Thank you very much. I would like to have Ben to share this particular question that where we talk about uplifting digital prosperity in ASEAN.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. From my point of view, I believe that the first one, I believe that the women need to be confident. Sometimes people think that because of the society's perspective that they are not confident that women can do. They normally think that is for men, and I have met many females in different countries. They even don't think about technology. Whatever we talk about technology, they thought, wow, it's very hard. It's not for me. It's for men. So whatever happen, even very smaller thing, they also leave it for men. So not because the men don't support, but themselves. Yeah, they need to be confident that they can do that. I think that's the most important thing. And the second one that I can see in my country, that or other country, they do a lot. Like we can create some social network for women. We can share more, and we have a role model who like a female who have been successfully be the model for other people to do. Yeah, of course, it's very hard for the people who be the first one. No one want to be the first one, or no one to want to be volunteers. So I think if we have some successful model, like Im just shared before, it's much easier for other people to follow. I can remember very well in my TED talk before. After my talk, I have a few people come to me and say that, wow, thank you very much. I'm about want to go to study abroad about computer science, and I'm very worried that I cannot live alone. I cannot stay far from my parents. But you give me a lot of challenge, but you show me that you can solve the problem. So I feel more confident, and I will go next year. And I can see very clearly that the real model can give them more confidence, and more people involved in. We can have more percentage of the women to lead the world. Yeah, so for me, I have three things that I want to say again here. The women must be confident in themselves. And the second one is the society can have different small social network to share each other, to support each other. And the third one is having some model in the society to help other people to follow.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Pauline, the new kid in the block, joining the entrepreneurial world. What do you think about uplifting digital prosperity in ASEAN for women?
My take is that it is not like, I mean, I'm still of the opinion that it is not an option. Women have to step forward. But then you see, I also see that there are different categories. So there'll be people like maybe the people in this panel, maybe the people attending this forum who already are embracing digital. Then the challenge for them would be to how to further upskill, how to further take advantage of training and move forward. But I think there is still a big segment of women who may not even be very IT savvy, technology savvy, and therefore it is the challenge of people like us and the community to bring awareness to them, to get them to see the need, to let them see the opportunity, and encourage them to step forward for training, to try and to do things differently, so that they don't get left behind. Otherwise, the minute the digital world comes, we will have a lot of people who are left behind, in particular women folk who stay at home, or who may be quite far in the rural area. So how do we then have like role modeling? How do we have NGOs, have different forums to reach out to them, show them the possibility, give them the courage to step forward and learn.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Pauline. Again, Tess, because of Philippines being a very unique country where a lot of the women are dominating the internet, in specific, to you for this question, where I would also turn this question around, as this is going to be the last question for our plenary due to time constraint. This question is basically talking about, can women be the champion for change in the tech sectors? It's not a yes and no question, but rather it's a why question. All right. So I really love to hear this very important opinion from every one of you. But I'd like to start off with Tess because Philippines is very exciting. Tess?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. There is a very well-known phrase that goes like this: necessity is the mother of invention. Now, it means that when a need becomes imperative, one becomes strongly encouraged to think of creative ways to solve the problem. Now, this shows that problems need creative thinking skills. Now, no wonder the word mother is used in that phrase, because women are naturally creative and innovative. Now, it is a woman that predicated the date of the return of the Halley's comet. It is also a woman that created the algorithm uh, for a modern computer. Now, it is ingrained in us to think. I mean, women. It is ingrained in us, women, to think, to innovate, to make life easier for those around us. Now, this simply shows that women can champion the changes in technology. And with our evolving society, which is helping in the integration of women, they can now do it even better with women around. I think that would be my take on your question. Can a woman be the champion for change in the technology sectors? Yes, and why? As I already explained.
Thank you, Tess.
Why?
Thank you very, very much. I really love what you have just mentioned. Women is naturally creative and innovative. And also going back a little bit where I hear again and again about women needs to be confident. And of course, again, going two steps further down, all right, we talk about, is women or are women lack of opportunities. Actually, again, it's like, are we moving forward or are we moving back? And with what Pauline is saying is like girls or women or ladies, it is not an option. Okay, so this whole conversation, can women be the champion for change? Pauline, the screen is yours. This is our final question. I really like to get the input from the other two ladies as well. Yes.
I I strongly believe that women can be a very good agent or catalyst for change or change leader. And I think you have seen a lot more lady entrepreneurs that are coming forth, including yourself and the ladies in this room. The question always lies in where the priority of the lady herself lies. Yep. So sometimes it is not a matter of whether the opportunity is there. It is a choice that the woman has herself chosen. Yeah.
Mm.
So it is very hard to say whether society allows, it doesn't allow, or but unfortunately in many parts of the world there's still a glass ceiling for ladies. So that one is unfortunate, that it still exists in some society and some culture. Um, but then you still see a lot of ladies breaking through. So I don't see it as a case where there's no talent or there's no capability. It's a case of choice, and in some societies the opportunity is a lot harder to come by. So it is again like communities like this that perhaps we can see how to encourage and role model and support them. But where the society is fairly open, I don't see why women cannot take the lead.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Pauline. Yim, final word?
Ah, interesting question. Can women be the champion for change?
Yes.
I think it's all about opportunity. When women are given opportunity, they will excel. If I can, I can show you some studies here. One is from Kaufman Foundation research. It shows that tech companies led by women achieve 35% higher return of investment than firm led by men. That's one thing. Forbes magazine found that women tech entrepreneurs, despite having received 50% less venture capital funding, they able to produce 20% higher revenues than their male equivalent. And a recent study by Pricewaterhouse and the Crowdfunding Institute showed that campaign led by women across the world in 2015 and 2016 were 32% more successful than those led by men across wide range of sectors, geography, and culture. So it's all about opportunity. When women are given the opportunity, they will excel. What we need to do right now, society needs to do right now, is to change the mindset and the system. So why not? we can excel whatever sectors we want, as long as we get a lot of support, and all the societies need to be able to change the mindset and the system. It's just something that can easily tackled by women.
I am very, very driven by what you have just said, and also, of course, the input of other, women panelists. But let me hear from Ben first, and before I share some of my input. Ben?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, my question is, why not? I don't see any reason that women cannot be a champion for change in the technology sectors. Like Im said, that I think the most important here is the mindset. If we think that we can do, then we can do. If we don't think that we can do, then we have 0% of the possibility to achieve it. Yeah, actually we can see that we already see many champions in the tech sector already, but maybe we need more. We need much more people involved, women involved, so we can show more that we have much more capabilities to balance the world, contribute to the world together with the men.
Thank you, Ben. On the group chat, there is this lady Eva that she was sharing about, when we were asking about what can men do to make the tech work better for women. Her response was she thinks that men can help to create favorable conditions for women to feel equal with the men in the marketplace. There was also another question that she also jumped in to share, why it is vital for us to close the digital gender gap. She mentioned that the gap between men and women working in the digital industry must be based on the interest and competency. So having women working in digital can encourage the other women to enter the digital industry too. So I like to thank Eva for chipping in, and also she also contributed on the question on what could women in ICT sector do to uplift the digital prosperity in ASEAN. Her feedback was, or her input was basically, women in ICT sector can have important roles to create job employment by identifying the needs, set up the training to equip the women to work after gaining the knowledge during the training. Having knowledge can increase the chance to get better work and improve the level of welfare. I wish we have more time to get on with this whole session, because I really have an amazing panel of women who is so willing to share their experience. And truly, today, I really like to thank all my women plenary speakers that comes from all different walks of life. but already so involved in the digital world. And the very key takeaway that I've been hearing is, it's not about the men or the women. Rather, it is a conscious choice that women make on, their role to play in the whole digital world. And, Pauline's conversation of, digital is the way to go, where women just have to step in. And it is no longer an option because the whole world is transforming towards this whole digital conversation. And the context of, a sharing community where YIM is already doing a lot. And I believe we have also in ASEAN CIO, we have a lot to learn from all of you as to see what else we need to do. Maybe, after this session where we would like to bring forth again a private session where we want to talk to all of you from the different countries. And I would be inviting other ASEAN ladies to also join the conversation first offline. As in online, but not on the screen like this, to really discuss about what ASEAN CIO can do to serve our role, to support this whole huge conversation on bringing the workforce. Particularly, Yin brought up a very key valid point where we have oversighted. In fact, when you talk about venture fund, getting funded, women in the pitching competition tends to lose out, can due to many reasons. But for those who get the funding, they actually perform far better than the men. And these are all very, key conversation to encourage more women to come forth. And truly, all the key points that Im shared, Ben shared, Tess, especially, share about a very interesting finding that I'm learning about the women in Philippines, And of course, the key conversation where I remember a couple of you mentioned about, to have the men or to get the men to work with us, we actually need to ask and not assume that they know. So these are a lot of key supporting factors that, we see it happen and we are learning every day. And today, I truly like to thank many of you for joining this session. And this session will be replayed on the YouTube channel as it has been recorded and will be posted on the ASEAN CIO YouTube live chat channel, as well as the Facebook page. And, again, I'd like to thank all the plenary speakers for taking time to join me on this live chat 11th session. And in fact, in continuing to this digital women channel, next week we are addressing on the conversation on digital fund. ASEAN CIO is looking at how, actually not so much about how, as in like, why are we looking into digital fund to support the different digital work that possibly need the fund to support. It's either we create the fund, or we call for the fund, or we invite a few fund companies to focuses on the work that we wanted to do to support the growth. It can be projects, it can be startups, and very importantly, of course, for women. All right, so do join us for next week. I believe it's also on a Thursday. Check out on our Facebook page so that you're not gonna miss anything all about funding next week. And maybe after this session, ladies, I may call upon you to talk about funding for women. Okay. So to suggest new topics and speakers of interest to join future live chat, please drop me an email on livechat@acioa.com. And it is our honor to have you join us today. Thank you very much and deep gratitude.